Coming up on Cronkite News, a new bill to create a lieutenant governor position in Arizona. We talk with state lawmakers to hear about the proposal.
Plus, we take you to one local bakery that was chosen to supply the 2023 Super Bowl with its treats.
And later, the city of Phoenix is planting trees as part of its Cool Corridor program. We tell you what the city hopes to accomplish.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Sedona Meadows.
And I'm Colt Almadova. Thank you for joining us. A bill working its way through the state legislature could create a new executive office in the state of Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Mitchell Zimmerman explains how this bill could change Arizona's constitution.
According to the Arizona State Constitution, the Arizona Secretary of State takes over when the governor leaves office early, unlike most states that have a lieutenant governor office. But voters may have a chance to change that. Think about a governor and lieutenant governor like the president and vice president. They're a team from one party, and when you vote for one, you're voting for the potential for the other to take over.
This would present to the voters the opportunity to create this first in line to be governor office so that we can have continuity, consistency, predictability.
SCR 1024 would establish the office of Lieutenant Governor of Arizona. Mesnard believes the Lieutenant Governor would be more suited to take over rather than the Secretary of State.
And as important as that office is, it's an office that focuses on elections, it focuses on record keeping.
In the last 50 years, Arizona's governors have left office early a total of 5 times. Most recently in 2009, Jan Brewer, a Republican, became governor after Governor Janet Napolitano, a Democrat, was appointed as Director of Homeland Security.
We do have a high propensity to have the governor vacate the office.
James Strickland with Arizona State University says having the governor and lieutenant governor run together can help solve the issue of party switches if a governor left office early.
They run together as running mates, and so in that case, you very often see this wingman analogy.
And Senator Mesnard says he doesn't just want this position to be a figurehead. The potential lieutenant governor could run the Department of Administration,
which is an agency that's plugged into every area of the government, which is sort of good training ground for them if they then ascend to the governorship.
SCR 1024 already passed the Senate on a 21-6 vote. If it also passes the House and is signed by the governor, the voters would approve or reject this proposal in November. Similar efforts have been tried in the past but rejected by voters twice. In the newsroom, Mitchell Zimmerman, Cronkite News.
While there won't be any lieutenant governors on this year's ballot, the deadline passed for Arizona governor candidates to file their fundraising totals for the first quarter of the year, and the candidates announced some big totals. Democratic candidate Katie Hobbs announced her campaign raised $750,000, and Republican candidate Carrie Lake reported almost $1 million raised. But leading the way in fundraising is Republican candidate Karen Taylor Robson, who raised $755,000 and also personally contributed $2 million to her own campaign. For comparison, Governor Doug Ducey only raised $550,000 in the first quarter of 2018. The next financial reporting period deadline is July 15th.
A federal judge struck down the federal travel mask mandate for airplanes and other public transportation. The Florida judge ruled the Biden administration mandate was unlawful because it exceeded the statutory authority of the CDC and the implementation violated administrative law. A Biden administration official says the masking order is not in effect at this time while the ruling is reviewed. The emergency declaration for Medicaid during the COVID-19 pandemic was extended for Arizonans. The declaration was set to expire April 9th, but was extended another 90 days by Health and Human Services Secretary. Now 500,000 Arizonans won't lose their Medicaid coverage. As long as the COVID-19 public health emergency is in place, states cannot remove people from Medicaid rolls.
Governor Ducey signed a new law into effect that attempts to protect residents who choose to speak out about their homeowners associations. The law is designed to allow residents to participate in HOA elections by posting election yard signs or holding community events. Supporters of the legislation say that oppressive homeowner associations have gotten out of control with their attempts to silence critics. Super Bowl 57 in Arizona is just around the corner. The event is expected to bring thousands to our state, and for many businesses, it is a great opportunity to get their name out to a huge audience. The Arizona Super Bowl Host Committee has a program dedicated to supporting diverse business vendors at the Super Bowl. Cronkite News reporter Faith Abercrombie met with a local bakery owner who is making her game plan to provide sweets for thousands of football fans.
It was one email that opened up a door for business owner Stephanie Brimley's Infinity Sweets Bakery.
It's so many times where you think like, oh, I'm gonna have to close the doors, and then something miraculously happened.
After Brimley's sister submitted an application, Infinity Sweets was selected to be a vendor at Super Bowl 57.
Panic attack, that's what came to mind. Like, I'm happy and like I'm overwhelmed, and I'm like, did a happy dance outside of Michael's, and I was like, okay, now that wore off, that's going to be a lot of work.
The Business Connect program is a partnership between the NFL and the Arizona Super Bowl Host Committee. The goal is to promote diversity and inclusivity in businesses related to NFL events. In order to apply, the business must be 51% owned by a minority, woman, LGBTQ+, or veteran.
To give local businesses a chance that's like on the brink of, hey, not surviving or surviving.
Brimley mixes, frosts, and slices completely by herself. She is the only baker in the building.
It's literally a one-man show.
And while she's confident in her creations,
I just have a love for just like baking and thinking outside the box and just decorating and let my creative side take over.
she's excited about workshops and networking that come with the Business Connect program, because she's ready to bring her baking skills to the big time. In Phoenix, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
Stephanie Brimley will attend her first meeting with the Arizona Super Bowl Host Committee on Wednesday.
With the current housing demand increase, bird rescue groups are feeling the impact. Coming up next, we take a look at the efforts to rescue and relocate burrowing owls as housing development takes over their land.
And we take you to the newest cool corridor in Phoenix, where over 200 trees were planted.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities. How do you think that, as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
More than 250 trees were planted in Cesar Chavez Park this past weekend, establishing the first school corridor for the city of Phoenix. Mackenzie Allen Sharmley is at the park to tell us the impact of tree equity.
This tree behind me is one of 259 that were planted by over 100 volunteers in an effort to ensure safer and more comfortable walkways for residents in the South Phoenix area. One tool the city has to combat increasing heat is the ability to plant more trees where shade is needed. 1 year ago, Phoenix became the first U.S. city to pledge to tree equity, an initiative ensuring all neighborhoods get the benefits that trees provide. This past weekend was the first move to plant what they call a cool corridor.
It is a corridor where students are walking to and from, so the students in years from today, 5-10 years, will have a nice shaded area to walk in. It brings the community together, partners together, and we're really trying to address this issue of tree equity in Phoenix. And I think this was a really wonderful way to do that, and it's our first step, and we're excited to keep planting.
The city has a goal of 100 cool corridors by 2030 and are prioritizing communities that are susceptible to heat vulnerability and are low income. In Cesar Chavez Park in Phoenix, Mackenzie Allen Sharmley, Cronkite News.
Northern Arizona residents may see a cutoff of drinking water as Lake Powell continues to dry up. The Interior Department is calling for emergency cuts to water deliveries. Arizona has until Friday to respond to the request to postpone its water deliveries from the Colorado River. If Lake Powell's levels continue to decline, about 7,500 residents could be cut off from access to drinking water. One goal is to keep the water levels high enough to support future water supplies to Lake Mead.
And not only are Arizonans experiencing a potential cutoff of drinking water, but they are also experiencing a cutoff of fish. Because of Arizona's ongoing drought, various lakes will not be stocked with fish due to low water levels and poor water quality. According to the Arizona Game and Fish Department, Carnero Lake, Concho Lake, Crescent Lake, Lee Valley Reservoir, and Scotts Reservoir will not be receiving any more trout in 2022.
Arizona's climate and terrain provides the perfect home for burrowing owls, the only owls that nest and live underground. But the ground these owls make home has become increasingly valuable. And as Raven Payne tells us, that makes for a hot housing market for these raptors.
It's not a what or a where, but rather a who. Burrowing owls are the cute little raptors you've probably seen or heard flying around Arizona. But because so many humans want to live in Arizona, these little guys are being crowded out.
Every day, there is some construction for new houses or a shopping center or a warehouse somewhere in Phoenix or Pinal County or greater Maricopa County.
Wild at Heart is a rescue center for birds of prey. According to founder and executive director Bob Fox, over the years, they've built thousands of homes for burrowing owls. These artificial burrows require certain criteria.
We look for open space, number one. You don't want to have a lot of tree lines because those will hide predators. You want to make sure that the owls have a good visual area to look. Again, it's all about predator awareness. So primarily what we're looking at now is still what little agricultural areas are left.
Moving an owl is a three-step process: intake, temporary habitat, and then releasing them to their artificial burrow. The explosive growth in Arizona means more owls are losing their homes, so they have to get them in and out of their temporary homes even faster.
Burrowing owls like these usually have a minimum of 60 days before being released from this habitat, but now that number has changed to less than 30.
Early one recent Saturday, more than 24 volunteers came out to build a neighborhood of sorts for owls. After they moved 2 owls into each home, they plan to come back every week to feed them. It's hard work, but the cute factor is good motivation.
I do a lot of road biking, and when I road bike the streets and stuff like that, it's just so neat to go near, canals or agricultural areas, and you see them flying around, and they're just so cute.
And who wouldn't want one of these guys as their neighbors? In Santan Valley, Raven Payne, Cronkite News.
Although these animals are currently losing their habitats, Bob Fox says he does not want them on the endangered animals list, as that would cause more problems for them.
It's been hot here in the valley, but we may start to see a dip in temperatures later this week. Evan Liss is in the Cronkite News Weather Center to tell us what we can expect.
Yeah, it's really a tale of two weather stories for Arizona this week. We're going to be windy, hot, and dry in the beginning, and then we're going to be laser focused with these hot temperatures on a big cool down coming, relatively big cool down coming at the end of our week. So taking a look first at the wind threat for tomorrow, we really spice things up going into the evening hours and midday. The highest threat is up in the high train. You can see those purple colors there, 27 degrees in Flagstaff. Those are sustained wind speeds. So in terms of wind gusts, we'll probably see 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts for the northern part of our state. So quite high. Here in the valley, we're going to be seeing more likely than not 30 mile per hour wind gusts in the lower deserts. The winds die down into tomorrow night. Looking at the temperature, the other side of that first part of the week story here, the purple is back. 97 degrees in Phoenix, 96 degrees in Paradise Valley. Some relief up in Cave Creek, 91 degrees. But for us here in the Valley of the Sun, we start to really get into the high 90s around that triple digit mark at this time of the year. We're starting to get a little scared. But if you want even more relief than what Cave Creek can provide, you go up to the high terrain. Look at these beautiful temps tomorrow, 68 degrees in Flagstaff, a beautiful 84 degrees in Page. And if you're visiting the top of the Grand Canyon, or 77 degrees, yes, top of the Grand Canyon, 77 degrees up there. So to just preview our cool down at the end of the week, this storm system, if you have outdoor weekend plans, this storm system right here moving into the west, that's the reason why we will be so cool at the end of this week. Taking a look at the 8 day, as I said, 97 degrees, that's a really hot day. We start to cool into the low 90s for the middle part of the week, and then by Saturday, 83 degrees, just gorgeous. And then we start to kick things up close to the triple digits for the beginning of next week. For now, I'm Evan Liss in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
I'm Tyler Rolfs, and coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Whether you prefer the smell of gasoline or fresh roasted coffee beans, we've got you covered after the break. Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go, lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Tyler Rolfs, and this is your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns tipped off their NBA playoff run last night at home against the Pelicans, winning 110-99, behind 30 points from Chris Paul. Paul's performance turned heads, and he credited a former teammate with the inspiration for his scoring spree.
Who was it? Jamal Crawford, fan, one of my teammates came up to me at halftime and was like, shoot the ball. That's what he said to me and Book when we were standing over there. And so started shooting.
The NBA also announced awards finalists for the season, and the Suns are well represented. Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and Monty Williams are all nominated for awards. Guard Devin Booker is not among the 3 finalists for Most Valuable Player. And in other basketball news, Arizona Wildcats center Christian Koloko announced he is skipping his senior year and declaring for the NBA draft. Koloko made a huge impact for the Pac-12 champion Wildcats this season, starting all 37 games. He averaged 12.5 points per game and now looks to take his game to the next level. And in Tempe, ASU softball continues to dominate. The team won their 20th straight game, beating Utah 8-7. The win streak is currently the longest in Division I softball and includes 12 straight conference victories. Despite the incredible run, head coach Tricia Ford is proud of them for staying humble.
They're going through this for the first time, and I think it's really cool. I think Alina's done a tremendous job of kind of leading them through that. And we got a lot of newbies, and I'm just really happy that we have the leadership. Hallie Harger does a tremendous job for us of just like staying where we are, keeping our heads down, and being humble.
And over at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, ASU baseball hosted Dustin Pedroia Night. The accomplished alum returned to the diamond to be celebrated for his achievements. The Sun Devils defeated USC 8-2 as part of a weekend sweep. Head coach Willie Bloomquist said Pedroia symbolizes everything he hopes to accomplish with the program.
Always great to have him around. His mentality is a breath of fresh air. He's what I want our guys to be like, you know, from a mentality standpoint. Overachieve, do things that no one else thinks you can, and prove everybody wrong. And that's kind of what this program's been about the past couple of decades.
And the busy weekend continued for the Devils. ASU men's golf hosted the Thunderbird Collegiate Tournament on Saturday at Papago. The hosts finished second, but were headlined by Sun Devil James Lau, who won the tournament's individual title after shooting 14 under over the weekend. And there's nothing like caffeine and classic cars to start a morning. And for one Scottsdale coffee shop, it's a weekend tradition that draws big crowds for car owners across the West Coast. Cronkite News reporter Andrew Kurland has the story.
Cars and coffee. It's a combination that unites hundreds on a weekly basis at 4 Till 4 Coffee Shop in Scottsdale. Every Saturday, owners and fanatics of classic cars flock to the streets outside of 4 Till 4, gearing up for an event filled with fast cars and caffeine. Every week has a special theme.
This is vintage 4 cylinders, playing on the 4 and the 4 Till 4 and everything else that we do with the brand.
Nico Samaras is the owner of 4 Till 4 and started the Cars and Coffee Weekends almost 7 years ago.
From day one, we started with old Porsches. That was my background. And next thing you know, it's just kind of turned into a little bit of everything. So now we mix it up with different types of cars, feature different cars on different weekends. And yeah, it's just kind of a madness.
Some weekends pull crowds upward of 100 cars. Owners from as far as Telluride will make the trip. It's Mia Agilian's job to manage it all.
Seemed to come from all over. Yeah, there was a guy who drove 500 miles yesterday just to come out to the event today, and we get a lot of people from California, Southern Arizona, all around the West Coast areas.
There are a lot of regulars who attend the Cars and Coffee events. Jim Borowski is one of them. And today he brought his Porsche that he bought all the way back in 1983. For Borowski, it's the car community that keeps him coming back.
And the culture is that people love cars, and it doesn't make any difference if it's a new car or an old car like this one, or one that's, you know, maybe beat up a little bit, but the person loves the car. It's just a fever, I guess, for folks that enjoy cars. I owned my first car at 13, and that's a long time ago.
It's a culture, and it all comes down to two simple things: cars and coffee. In Scottsdale, Andrew Kurland, Cronkite News.
That's all for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Colt.
A new license plate inspired by a rock and roll superstar may be coming to Arizona soon. After the break, we will tell you who the plate is based on.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
A special license plate featuring Arizona native and rock and roll superstar Alice Cooper could be seen on the road soon. A bill passed by the Arizona legislature and signed by Governor Doug Ducey creates a specialty new plate design featuring Alice Cooper. The bill also establishes the Youth Music and Arts Special Plate Fund. The fund helps Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Centers, a faith-based nonprofit that mentors teens and helps them discover their talents at no cost. If you are interested in purchasing, the plate has an initial $25 fee, and $17 of that will be donated to the centers. The plate will be issued December 31st.
That's it for Cronkite News Tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.gov.